Information coming in today regarding the death of actor and comedian Robin Williams. Sheriff's officials now say that he took his own life by hanging himself with a belt at his home. He was found by his personal assistant in a bedroom in his home, and Williams also had cuts, we're told, on his wrists, and a pocket knife was found nearby. He had been seeking treatment of late for what some described as a deep depression. Someone who knows the dark side of that kind of depression and has spoken openly and very honestly about the impact is Brian Cuban. Brian's joining us live today in the studio. Let's begin, for people who don't know, without going through the entire backstory. Sure. The very low point for you in the bottom was the day that you put a gun in your mouth and you pulled the trigger. So,
yes, I had been prepping myself for that, for that moment, and I was very lucky because I had family and a friend who were involved in my life, recognized some signs and showed up at my house when I was ready to kill myself.
So for those of us, let's say for the group of people on the outside looking in, when we see someone like a Robin Williams, who presumably beloved by all and had everything in life, and all those things that go with that, how do we not know that help needs to be there? How did those around you not know that you were finally at that moment?
Because you isolate. You isolate depression, people who are depressed. I know I did, speaking from my story. You isolate and you don't want to give out those signs.
So when you say isolate, you're not returning phone calls, you're not returning texts.
Not returning phone calls, not going out. Not showing up for family events, you're keeping to yourself.
For those watching, is that the biggest sign if they think they have someone in their life who's dealing with depression and maybe a deeper depression? Is that one of the telltales?
That is a huge sign. People do not isolate in a vacuum.
Okay.
That is when you're depressed, you want to get away from everyone. You want to kind of live in that moment, and that's what happened to me, and that's where these, what seemed very logical thoughts at that time.
Right.
That's how they occur. And of course, now 9 years later, I see how illogical they were. But at the moment, it seems like the logical right choice. For me, I thought I was doing my family a favor. And as my psychiatrist...
And in that moment, that's the rational thought that's in your head.
That is the rational thought your mind creates in your head. I thought I was doing my family a favor because I was an embarrassment to them. An embarrassment of drug addiction, eating disorders, depression, alcoholism, and I thought that was the thing to do.
You approached this, obviously, here in the news yesterday of Robin Williams from such a different place than most people, obviously, because you've been there, you've traveled the road, and came so very close yourself, admittedly. What did the news say to you yesterday? How did you receive the news versus the rest of us, I guess, who have not been where you've been?
I received the news in a larger context of listening to what was said and really being heartbroken and some of the stereotypes and stigma that is still out there with regards to mental health. People commenting that how can he be depressed if he has money?
Right, yeah.
You have it all, why would you do that? Depression does not discriminate on economic status, on race, on sex. It can strike anyone, anytime, and we're all affected by it.
Last thing I want to ask you is, what do we do? What did you want to hear in that moment for yourself, or when you were going down that path? What can we do to reach out a hand and to help? Is it literally grabbing you and forcing our way into your home and saying, I want to help in some way?
Which is what happened to me.
Yeah, so it is almost a physical intervention to a degree.
Every story is different. Everybody has a different story, but you have to stay involved in people's lives. If you're not involved, it's hard to know what's going on, and that doesn't mean people won't slip through the cracks. Robin Williams talked openly about his issues, but at least in my case, it happened, and a lot of it's timing. It happened so quickly that I slipped into that state that maybe, a few moments here and a few moments there, I wouldn't be there. But you stay involved with the people you love.
And Brian, we're short on time, but the last thing, this needs to be an ongoing discussion. We're not going to solve the world's problems in the little 2 or 3 minutes we have here. But outside of people kind of regressing, give me the last top 2 or 3 symptoms that people need to watch for, just as a button on this.
Isolation, drug use, increased talks of harm, talks of self-harm would be the 3 big ones that come to my mind because they're the ones I did.
All right, Brian Cuban, we really appreciate your open discussion on the subject matter. Thank you so much.
Thanks.